Hi, welcome to Shine a Light. My name is Sharon Meyer, and I'm delighted to be here with two incredible guests today, Chris Beck from the Special Olympics and Officer Joseph Adams from the Grosse Pointe City Police Department. Which, you know, when we mentioned we're having the police was a little scary, but we're fine with it today because he's
harmless.
Harmless. He's doing amazing things. One of the great things that's coming up that's a partnership between the Special Olympics and SOC is a basketball game. How'd you get involved in that, Joe?
About 7 years ago, we took over for the executive board for our Fraternal Order of Police, and it was a organization ran by a lot of the older retiree officers, and they didn't have as many contacts as the younger officers did. So a few younger officers got involved, and they looked at stuff that we could bring back to the community. One of the events I had heard about another lodge doing was a basketball game versus the Detroit Lions. So in 2007, I went out to the South Oakland 128 Lodge, and I actually played on their team against Detroit Lions. And they filled the gym. It was one of the most memorable experiences I was ever involved with. So Don Potter is the owner of Wolverine Productions, and he was the chair that actually does the actual basketball games. He puts everything together. So I spoke with him that year, and I asked him about trying to get a basketball game together. Well, like everything else, they were full. And in order to get it, you were on a waiting list. So each year I would ask him and ask him and ask him. And finally, last year, he contacted me and said, listen, I think we can get a game in for you. It's going to be a later one, but we can probably get a game for you. So last year in May, first week of May, is when we had our first annual basketball game. And what we decided was, instead of trying to use the money for something for the lodge, we wanted to give back to the community. So we decided that Special Olympics is something that's near and dear in our hearts. We've been involved with it for the last 20 years, and we've been extremely involved with it for about the last 10. I contacted my contacts at the state of Michigan, which they, of course, led me to here, to here, to here, and finally, and this is when I met Chris Beck and his wife. And together, I spoke with him, told him what we wanted to do, and blah, blah, blah. He jumped right on board. And then there was a second thought of, like, you know, there's something else we want to give back to the community. What else can we do? And that's when I was able to contact you. So I figured between SOC and Special Olympics, it was something that would be two organizations that are close here in Grosse Pointe. And from that, it started last year, and here we are today, our second annual.
And it was a great game. And even the Special Olympics, the special needs kids in Grosse Pointe work with SOC all the time. We have several that come to the SOC. They serve food, but mostly they serve friendship for our seniors. So it was also a great partnership. When we thought about it, we thought that's amazing because this community is all inclusive. So Chris, you've been involved with the Special Olympics, so you know what it means to those kids to be able to go to those. I do too. I have friends that went to the Special Olympics this year. But tell me what it really does mean for what the support of this game will make to those kids.
Well, I think in general, you know, Special Olympics provides for many of these kids, young adults and children actually from the age of 8 and above, really the only kind of competitive sporting opportunities that they may have. I mean, ultimately the schools really don't provide that. So Special Olympics in general provides that, and from that it's typically a first-time experience for a lot of these kids. It is much more of a supportive type atmosphere. Competitive as well, but you know, every child wins no matter what, whether they get a medal, whether they get a ribbon. It's not necessarily about that. It's more about the friendship, the camaraderie, the socialization. And for all of these participants in any of these events, the basketball event that we're going to be having, it's just a wonderful atmosphere and a wonderful environment for these kids to experience. And they all feel like they're winners. They all enjoy it so much.
Right, we love playing games. The basketball game is Thursday, March 28th at 7 p.m. at Grosse Pointe South's gym.
Correct.
Did you play last year, Jim?
Yes, I did.
Yes. And
we had 12 officers play last year, and then what we decided was, usually it's the FOP versus the Detroit Lions, but our thought last year was, how about we get a few athletes from the Special Olympics to come play with us? So I contacted Chris. He said, not a problem. His son Ryan and his son Trevor were able to come play with us. And we had two, Darius and
Tom Defoe.
And it was one of the most, I mean, Trevor, I'll never forget, he got out there on the jump ball, and I mean, he was just sizing up a 6'8" guy, you know, from the Detroit Lions. And so we decided to bring those guys with us because it was just, and a lot of people had told us it wasn't about the game. It was about seeing the Detroit Lions, you know, people they watch every Sunday in the fall, you
Right.
know, now they're in their home gym and they're seeing that, and also seeing these athletes. I mean, they were just unbelievable. And so at one point we're like, you guys gotta, you know, the Detroit Lions were like, you know, listen, you know, we gotta kind of win this game.
We got to win some games.
Exactly, exactly. And you know, so it was funny because I had actually, I think I was telling Darius, I'm like, all right, listen, don't go too hard on them. You know, you're killing these guys. And they started laughing and stuff. So we had a great time. But that was one of the changes that, you know, we did, is we actually added athletes, which we're planning on doing this year also. We're adding a few more athletes. Chris is going to get a few more athletes, different athletes to play with us this year. So it'll be a little bit of a change.
It was amazing and rewarding. I was in the audience. I really wanted to play, but, you know, I just left my tennis shoes at home.
Maybe this year you can.
Yeah,
We'll set it up.
There's a long waiting list.
Exactly.
So, but what I noticed was the Lions, they did an amazing job of including everyone. This game, it was a great basketball game, but it wasn't just basketball. The audience was included. They got kids from the audience to play. So if people are thinking on the fence about attending, families should attend. It's a great event. I mean,
Right. It's not a, you know, Chicago Bulls or Detroit Pistons 1990 championship game. It's not that. It is a community event.
Yes.
It is to try and bring up. They give autographs. They give a 20-minute or 30-minute autograph session at halftime. If there's 50 kids still in line, they're not going to stop it. You know, they are some of the most friendliest people. You know, yeah, they're professional athletes, million-dollar athletes, but you never know from some of them because they're good-hearted people, and that was what, you know, why I wanted to bring this event here, because it not only shows that, it actually shows us too, that, you know, we're not just the ticket writing robots as everybody may portray us as.
Right.
You know, we want to show the community that we do have, you know, we do give back. We do want to show to the community that this is fun. This is something that, you know, is enjoyable for the community.
Right, it's all true. And you know, the FOP Lodge, I don't know how many people are familiar with it, but it's a great organization. Since I've been at SAC, we've had relationships for a while doing different things. But tell me, I know this fall you had done something late fall, right before Christmas, with some of the special needs kids. The
Right.
police officers.
Like I said, since 2000, I believe is around 2002, 2003 is when we started sending officers to the summer and winter games. And as Chris said, you know, about the athletes, it's not about what they win or lose. I have probably had some of the most amazing experiences at these games putting a participant ribbon. They get 10th place, but they still get a ribbon. And they are so happy to receive that. So as we've got involved, we used to send 10 to 12 officers, depending, of course, like every other place, you know, we've lost manpower and whatnot, so we've tried to, you know, send as many as we can, but it's all on volunteer basis. And we tried to get involved with that. Well, since 2006, we've tried to find different events and different organizations that we could get involved with and help out throughout the thing. Special Olympics, like I've said, has always been one near and dear in our heart. This past December, we did our first annual Shop with a Cop. Veronica Cashew from Grosse Pointe Farms was a member of Harper Woods' department the year prior, and she did it with just the Harper Woods. I contacted her and said, you know, let's try to get the FOP involved. We can get more officers, possibly, you know, raise more funds. She thought it was a great idea. She took the ball and ran with it, and we were able to get Target on board, who donated $1,500.
Nice.
We had a Grosse Pointe Farms Benevolent Fund was able to donate, and a few other small donations. We were able to take 20 special needs children to Target and give them pair them up each with an officer, and give them a $100 gift card. And after that, we took them back to the Grosse Pointe Farms park down by the water, and had Santa there, and was able to give out, you know, had their presents wrapped and everything, was able to give it to them. It made their day. We had a luncheon for them, everything, and we want to build on that. You know, that's one of the events that we do. We do raffles and stuff. Money towards the raffle is going towards Shop with a Cop directly now, because we saw not only, you know, if we can take it from 20 kids to 40 kids, we're going to do that. Each year we want to build that. Our goal is to have 100 kids. If we can get 100 officers, it'd be great too, but, you know, times always can tell at that time. So that's just one of the many events that we've done. When we got on board with yourself, you know, and me, and talked about this game, you know, that's something else we want to do, is get involved with SOC and trying to give back with that. So just as much as we can do is what we will do.
Right.
We have organizations that contact us, you know, can you guys help us out? Absolutely. Boy Scouts a few years ago got their trailer stolen. The local Grosse Pointe I think it was in Roseville or something. I contacted the head pack leader, and we donated a check for $1,500 for him just to help him get supplies back.
Nice.
That's what we try to do, is
Right.
we try to give back as much as we can to the community that gives us so much.
Right, and it's the local community. I think we discussed that, and it's interesting that you know, people think sometimes Grosse Pointe doesn't have any needs. Well, we do. We need to take care of our own, and we need to look out for each other. We need to be connected. We do that with the seniors at SOC, but Chris, you do it with the special needs kids, and you said they're proud, but the
Right.
relationships they're making.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think everybody knows about Special Olympics. You know, everybody's heard of it. Everybody has a sense as to what
Right.
that is. I think to some degree it's kind of debatable if everyone knows that there's a Special Olympics group within our local community. And that, over the course of the last 7 years, which we have been in existence, has been one of our, you know, goals essentially, is to really get community awareness of our group. Events such as this are wonderful, not only for the participants that are in it, those that are watching it, but certainly just the recognition and of course the wonderful support that we have received from the police department. So that, you know, it's a threefold win for us, and really if we can get more recognition and ultimately, you know, long story short, you know, part of that is more support for our organization. That's all the better.
Yeah, and it's great. That night of the event, all the money goes to the two charities. So there's a big, huge check that night, and then we take it back and cash it. But it's all going back, so none of it actually goes to the FOP. So right
Correct.
now, we're out there selling ads for the book, which is a great thing. So if you get a call, there's an 800 number on the screen if you'd like to call about getting an ad, or even tickets. If you'd like to get tickets, you can call that number.
Correct.
Officer Adams was happy enough to put his personal email up there, so don't complain about anything Grosse Pointe. But he will take the tickets or an ad or sponsorship in any way for the
Correct.
event.
If you contact the 800 number directly, that's Wolverine Productions. They're the ones that are actually we have partnered with for the organization. They have the contact with Alliance. You can get tickets and everything right from them. It's $15 admission, $35 for a family pass. The family pass is however many you got. If you've got cousins and aunts and uncles, you can bring them all at. It's really not about, you know, they're not real sticklers on it. They just want to be able to get as many. Last year we were hoping to get, you know, 500 to 600 people. Mr. Hawkins Jeremy Hawkins from the athletic director at Grosse Pointe South, when I approached him, he was absolutely ecstatic to help out. Anything he could do, he was very, very helpful. Grosse Pointe South, everything there was awesome. They set it up just like a basketball game. And he actually came to me later on during the game and said, we got to actually open up the top section of the game because they sold out the bottom, which is more than we ever thought would happen. So this year we want to open up another section if we can. The more the merrier. And like I said, it's a great family event. It's a Thursday, March 28th at 7 p.m. at South. And like I said, if you want to email me, you can. It's my personal email. I'll email you promptly with any information you may have about the event.
Yeah, it's a great event. It really is a great event. Lots of fun. Going to two great charities. You know, with the Special Olympics, Chris, you've been. Can you tell me one of your most memorable experiences that happened with the kids?
You know, as simple as that question seems to be, it's actually a difficult one. You know, over 7 years, there have been so many experiences, and every individual athlete, I think, has their own individual take on what it has meant to them. But you know, frankly, we strive on two things: one, to make it fun for them, and to provide a competitive and a learning environment for them. So we want them to grow in terms of the competitive and the sports abilities that they're participating in. So to see so many of these individuals that may not have had many skills in whatever the events they are participating in, whether it's bowling, basketball, swimming, and to see how they have gained experience, gained confidence, which is obviously one of the biggest components to it, over the years, and learning, never being able to swim, some of them never even getting into a pool, and